everyone. Happy Saturday, day 3 of our Hats Off to Creativity workshop. I am so excited to be here with you today. I am in North Texas, about 60 miles north of Dallas, and about 15 minutes from the Oklahoma border. So I'm just kind of right at the top of that North Texas where it dips a little bit. And we had some storms last night. We got storms a little bit south of us in Dallas. So it's windy and wind chill is in the 40s today. And then it's supposed to be in the 80s sometime towards the midweek. So Texas, you never know what weather you're going to get. Good morning, Sybil. Everybody say hello when you come on. I'm going to see if I can get us pulled up over here on the iPad. Okay, looks like we're in business. Looks like it. And Sybil's showing. I feel like I'm glowing here. This light is really, really in my eyes. If you are new to my page, I am Pam Savage, owner of Young at Heart Creations. Got a little bit of a raspy throat today. I suffer from allergies, and pretty much everybody that lives in Texas, I think, has allergies of one level or another. And so I'm usually always coughing or sneezing this time of the year, and then the fall it hits me again. So I apologize for that. But we've got a lot done. I know several of you have been painting with me. This is what we've done so far on our hats, and we're going to finish them up today. And then talk about a couple of other things. We'll see how long it takes us, but we're going to go ahead. All we have to do today as far as painting is putting on our little ladybugs. So that's what we're going to do today. And I got to thinking, I made the flowers red down here in the little grass. So I don't know if that's going to take away from the ladybug or not. We're going to put one down in the grass. I'm going to put one probably on the leaves and maybe on the petal. But that's what we're going to do today. So hi, Cindy. Hello, hello. Come on in. So glad to have you. You guys have been so great sending me the best messages and just boosting my morale, and I appreciate it. We all need to have our morale boosted every now and then, or I do anyway. I'm one of those that always, let's see, how do I put it? I don't have a lot of self-confidence in things that I do, and I'm bad about comparing myself to others. I'll be right up front with you. Hello, Sherry. Sherry said she's working on her hat. Her sunflower ended up being large, so I only have one. You're not the only one. I had some others that sent me the same message, and you'll learn as you do these that, you know, you never know. Sometimes I end up with 3 or 4 on one of small ones. And then, like this one is not at all what I really had originally planned. I had originally planned to do a stem and then like a different style of flower. But as I was painting, I thought, okay, this is how it turned out. And I mean, this one got a little bit bigger for me too. And so this is what we went with. So I just learned to kind of go with the flow. Whatever happens, and they always sell, so when I do have them for craft shows and things. But anyway, I just want to thank you for your encouragement. We all need encouragement, because hi Pamela, I am one of those that I question who's gonna even care about what I paint or what I do, or you know, look at this, and then I compare to the others that get on here. I go, oh, I've been painting for nearly 40 years, and I compare mine to theirs. I'm not there yet, you know, and then I bring myself back and say, wait a minute, that's not what this is all about. This is to paint for enjoyment, not to compare yourselves to others. Just do it for fun, do it for hobby, do it for your little business, but it's just to be therapy for you, to make you proud of something that you've done, and to make you realize how special you are. We are all special in our own unique way, and we all paint in our own unique way. Just think if we all painted just alike, how boring it would be. So be proud of yours, own it, and know that where you start is not where you're going to stop. You're going to continue to grow in your painting skills and lots of different things, and you're going to make new friends. Cindy says she struggles with confidence. It holds me back because of it. It does hold us back. We let it hold us back. My biggest thing is I'm really not afraid to attempt painting something now. I'm getting more comfortable with that. Mine is I am not a technical person. I would love to put pretty flyers on here when I'm having you know, an event. I do get my daughter-in-law to do that for me sometimes. But I don't know how to do all the pretty technical stuff. And so I thought, you know, my group, probably there's a lot of you in my group that are not technical and you don't care about all the fancy stuff. You love it and it's nice and extra and we all do enjoy it and appreciate it. But I think you just want to learn to paint and just have some company. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so we are going to do some little ladybugs. Now I'm going to show you on a piece of paper first. Get a scrap piece of paper here. There's so many ways to do ladybugs, but we're just going to do a very simple one today. So I'm going to bring you down here just a little bit. You can draw it on with a pencil. You can freehand it. I'm going to be using a little round brush. I may bump up to a little bit bigger one because I'm going to make these ladybugs today a little bit larger than I typically do just so you can see them. But let's say this is your baseline, like your grass or the leaf. All I do is, and I'm doing this upside down, so show me some grace here. I just make, whichever way I want it facing, I just make one, like half of an M. I go up and down. And then I make the head a little bit smaller. And I go up and down. That's my head. And if I want to, I could put some legs on it. We're not even going to do that today. And then for the antennas, I just go up and out, and then I'll dot it with my little stylus or end of one of my Dippin' Dotties or end of your paintbrush, whatever you got. Then I base coat it, and then I put a little highlight line of white across it. Then I do my dots. And so that's what we're going to get to. So again, here's our baseline. You're going to do one hump, however tall you want it. And that one needs to be a little bit longer. So let me erase that a little bit. So I'm just going to go up and over, and I'm doing it upside down and my book's moving. And then the head, you can make it a little bit smaller, or you could even make it come up a little bit larger. That's up to you. And then we're going to do the antennas. You could even make, we're not going to today because again, we're keeping it simple, but you could even make a little face and do the face in like a flesh color and put you some cute little eyes on there and a mouth. And then we're going to do the white line. Not like that, but then we're going to make our dots. So simple, simple, simple. So 1, 2, backwards 2 because I'm backwards and upside down. 2 is the head, and then 3 the antennas, and then your base coating. So anyway, simple, simple. So that's what we're going to do. Now if you want to go ahead and draw yours on with your pencil, that is great. I'm going to go ahead and just go directly with the paint because I've done them so many times that I'm comfortable with it. The red, I'm going to base coat. I'm going to go ahead and base coat in white. You can base coat it in coral, or you can base coat it in a light gray, and that helps your red to show up. We're going to be using Tuscan red, and it covers really well. So I'm just going to put a layer of white under it, and it should do just fine. So that's a simple little ladybug that we're going to do. I hope Monday I get to paint with you and finish the ladybug that we were doing. Let me grab it right quick and show you while everybody's coming on. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Janet. Hi, Heather. And Cindy, the other Cindy. Let me grab that and show you what we've been working on. I went live last week and got started on it. And I did change the hat color. I did have it in a turquoise color that's on here, but I changed the hat to red to match because I just didn't like it. And then put some little flowers on it. Now this is a pattern. This is not my design. This is a pattern I had, and I just traced it on with graphite paper. And then we're going to do some little flowers over here. And then I have some really cute, we're not going to paint ladybugs. I've got some cute wooden ladybugs that we're going to put on here. So I hope to finish this with you Monday. I hope. I have to take my mom to the dentist. So it just depends on how that all goes. So let's get started here. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for signing up for this. Before we get into it, I do want to remind you, we're going to do a drawing towards the end of the paint tutorial while I'm going to put my hat in the dryer and let it heat set for 10 minutes. And then while we're doing that, we'll do the wheel of names and see who wins a set of the new fall Dotties that come out in June. But I also want to remind you about the Penny's Lane workshop. And I know y'all get tired of hearing me say it over and over again and pushing it, but I always have someone say after the deadline, I didn't know anything about the workshop. How did I miss that? So I tried every time I get on here to mention something about it. Thank you. The ladybug, she is cute. It's a cute pattern. I'm enjoying it. Hi, Michelle. Okay, so this is the Penny's Lane workshop. You will get this cute little framed wood piece. It's 11 by 14. And I've had these printed to size to go in this, so it'll be easy for you to do your graphite tracing the pattern. We'll learn how to do that. And then I've got tracing paper that you will get, and I'm going to show you how to make your process, your putting your pattern on here so much easier with tracing paper. So that will be something that you will learn. Let me show you the finished piece if you haven't been on here. And you can use any color that you want to. You do not have to use the color choices I use. I just used a yellow for my bunny, but you could do it in a cream color, a brown color, a gray bunny, whatever color bunny you want to do. My little sign says Grammy's house half a mile, but yours can say whatever you want to put on it, you know, something farm, the Savage Farm, or I don't know, carrots a mile, whatever you want to put on it. Mimi's house a mile or half a mile or 25 miles, however far you live from your grandkids. I'm not sure. And then we can also put something up here in this little, I call this kind of a dead space. There's nothing really up there, which is fine. It's balanced out, but we could put a little butterfly or a bumblebee or something in here if you wanted to, a sunshine, whatever you wanted to do in that. So you can add to this, definitely add to it. We're going to learn how to do this slip slap background, and we're going to be staining with paint. We're not going to stain with stain. We're going to stain with paint. You will get a detailed printed out instruction sheet like this step by step, so that if you want to paint it again, you can paint it again. And this is a Mary Darrow pattern. This is out of one of her books, and she is no longer with us, but she left behind just a treasure of patterns. And I used to buy, when books came out, I would always buy hers when they came out. So that's what this is. Now hers was a little bit different colors completely. Her wheels were more like a wood color. Her bunny was an off-white, I think. I'll show it when we get into the actual group. It is a private group. It won't be on my public page like this, so you won't be able to just watch us do it. You'll have to be in the private page. Oh, I'm so glad you've enjoyed it, Diane. Great. What is the date of the workshop? It is May the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And you can go ahead and register. You have to send me an email and send that to youngheartcreations@icloud.com. and tell me you want to register for the Penny's Lane workshop. It's $40. That includes your kit, that includes tax, that includes shipping. So that includes everything. And that once you send me that email, I will invoice you for payment. Once I receive payment, you'll get an invite to join the private group. that we've got, and there's already several in there, and they are talking and introducing themselves and showing the cutest little AI pictures or chat pictures that they've made of themselves. So we're having fun in that group already, and it hasn't even started yet. Okay, let's get our ladybugs going on here. So if I was trying to talk to give you long enough to draw your ladybug wherever you want it to go. Use a chalk pencil, use a regular pencil. I'm just going to go for it. And again, I'm going to make mine a little larger just so you can see a little better. I normally make them a little bit smaller and just kind of hide them here and there, but a lot of my things have ladybugs on them. Okay, so I'm going to get it outlined with white. And it depends on your color background too. If your background is white, you're not going to want to outline it in white. You might want to outline it in gray or something like that that shows up. So let me look at this right quick and see where I want to put one. Okay, I know I want to put one right here on this leaf. So I'm going to do my little hump. And I'm going to make it going towards the flower. Okay, so there's my little hump. It's a little back. And then I'm going to do the little head. And I did it just a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to fill, I don't have to fill the head in because it's going to be black. I don't need a base coat under it. It will cover that green just fine. But for the red, I do need something under it. Okay, so I'm going to put one there on the leaf. I definitely want one down here in the grass, and I'm going to have it facing the other way. So I'm going to do the back. And a head. And I'm going to go ahead and base coat the back. Okay, so I've got two on there. And they're not going to be the same size. That's fine. All right, I think we need one. Let me look here. I think I'm going to put one on this leaf too. Let's make it going towards this flower. So the back. The head. That one got a little bigger, and it just will make it look like it's closer to you than the other ones, which is fine. We could even do one. Let's do a little one right here. And do the little head. So do as many as you want. I like the back to come up a little higher, so I'm going to make that the head. Okay, so I think to kind of balance it out, I'm going to do one on this side. Facing towards the cap, the head part. And do a little head. Okay, now I didn't get that hump quite big enough, tall enough. I like to get the back a little, I think I said it just the opposite a minute ago, but I like to get the back a little bit taller than the head. Sometimes it works out the other way. I'm just feeling that, fixing this one a little bit. And I think this one's back needs to be a little taller. That one looks okay. Let's make this one a little taller. Okay, so you just, I mean, it's hard to know where to stop. I could just put them everywhere. I'm going to put one right here. Okay, you could also put ants, whatever kind of insect you want on there. All right, let's get those dry. Yes, the chalk pencils, Cindy, they have all colors of chalk pencils. And the colors that you're going to be doing this in, you're going to be using black, and the red should cover it also. Paint it white first. Just use a regular pencil. And just, you know, just mark on it lightly. I did have a pencil over here somewhere. Oh, yeah, you can just use a regular pencil. Just do it very lightly so that your dark lines will cover. I kind of went ladybug crazy on this, but I think they'll be really cute. You could even put just a couple of little ladybugs and put a butterfly on it. I mean, instead of a flower, you could do a big butterfly. Those are so pretty. Okay, so I am going to go in with the red. I've already got some red mixed up with the fabric medium, two parts paint, and then 1 part fabric medium. Mix it up with the handle on your brush until you don't see any milky white. Okay, and I'm using the small round brush that should have been in your kit. So I'm going to start up here at the top so that I'm not running my hand across those. And we're going to do the body. We're just going to outline it, cover that white back base coat that we just did. First coat may look a little pink with that white under it, but we'll go over it again. Okay, and let's see, I gotta remember where all I put one. So I'm just going with each one of them and doing the body. And then I'm lining it at the bottom and filling it in. Okay, so there's that one. This one's a little bit bigger. This is the number 1 liner brush. Okay, number 2. How many ladybugs did I put on here? All right, let's do this one up here. You don't want to get below the leaf line on the bottom because it's going to look like he's kind of hanging off. He doesn't have anything to sit on. Now you could do these. I'm doing kind of the side view of the ladybug. You could do just a round ladybug with the back showing. These are just kind of a side view, and I think they're one of the easiest. This guy got really big. He must be the dad of the bunch. Okay, and I'm just going to spread it out. And one more down here. And I think I'm going to make him face this way. Okay, so I think that's all my ladybugs. And let's dry those. And then we're going to put one more coat on them. Hi, Renee. Okay, that should be good enough. Now let's put a second coat on there. Next color we're going to use is white. Yes, second coat is covering it really well. And you can use any red. I really like the Tuscan red. It just has such a nice coverage. I use it a lot. I use it a lot in when I'm doing Santas. They used to have what was called Santa Red. And they don't have that anymore. So Tuscan Red does a great job of coverage, and it's a pretty color. It's just got a Christmassy feel to it when you're painting Christmas items. I'm anxious for the Dippin' Dottie sale in June. Somebody's going to win a set. It'll be our new fall set. Last year the fall set was 3 different shapes of leaves. There are no leaves in this fall set. This is a fun one. Completely different from the other one. So I hope that you're going to like it. All the other sets will be available during the sale too. And I'll tell you more about that when we get a little bit closer to time, but that will be in June. Okay, I think that's all of them. Okay, now I'm going to get just a little bit of white on the tip of my brush. And everywhere, well, first we need to dry that. Just on the top of the hump, we're going to make just a little highlight line. I like to do this before I do my dots because sometimes I get the dots on there and I didn't leave myself room to make the little highlight line. So I'm just going to very lightly, I don't want it real thick, and just as close up to the top as you can get it. Now you could get even more detailed and shade these. It just depends on how big your ladybugs are, but you could shade around the back of the ladybug, and I do sometimes with like a deep burgundy or even black, lightly with black. Okay, I'm not putting much pressure at all. Just putting that little highlight line on there. Okay. So I've got highlight lines on the backs of all of them. Now we're going to go in with our black. And if you're using fabric paint, remember the black, or at least the brand that I've got, is super stringy. And you want to be careful and not string it across your hat, something like across your flower or something. Okay, so I'm closing that paint up because I may need to use it again on the other painting that I'll be doing, hopefully Monday. Okay, let's draw that little highlight line. Oh, I missed one. Where is my Peggy Wilson to tell me when I miss one? I didn't do this one up here. Peggy Wilson, when she's on here, she's so good about catching something that I miss like that. Yes, Pamela, the other sets will be available. Mr. Jeff has 2 printers now. He got to go get his big new printer, the fancy one that does a lot more and a lot faster, and he can also use the other one that he had, so he can print a lot faster for me now, more at a time. So that's going to make it really nice. So yes, they will be available. Okay, so I'm going to take my black and we're going to dot. You can use the end of your paintbrush. You can use a stylus, which is what I think I'm going to use today. And or you can use the end of one of the Dippin' Dotties. Several of you have the Dippin' Dotties and those work perfect. So I'm going to get some black. And before we dot though, we're going to go ahead and fill in the head with that same little brush that we were just using, because I don't want to run my hand across those dots. Okay, now here's what I'm talking about. See if I can get it to... It's not doing too bad because I've got some water in my brush, but and this is such a tiny brush, but it gets really stringy on there, and you have to kind of twist your brush to make it break. If not, I have almost ruined a piece by just stringing that across, not realizing it was like cheese and still had some hanging on. Okay, so let's start on this little guy up here. And I have an even smaller detail brush that I typically use when I'm doing some this small. But this is the one that was in your kit. I'm trying to use the ones that, that I sent you. So anytime I'm doing dots, I try to do the dots last so that I'm not having to run my fingers across them or arm across them. You can even put a little highlight line on the top of his head, just like we did the back. I don't think I'm going to do that today. Okay, there's that one. And let's do this one up here. Now, if I did these down here first, I would have to try to be careful and not lay my hand on them. Between my ring light and holding it upside down, it's hard for me to see where I'm painting. Okay, let's do this one. I'm using my little pinky finger to kind of steady my hand. I do that constantly now, not even thinking about it. It just is second nature to me to do that. It makes it so much easier. And once this black dries, we'll probably have to go over it one more time. You would think just one coat of black would cover anything, but it doesn't. Once it dries, you start seeing little pieces of your whatever your canvas is underneath, whatever your paint surface is. Now, I think it would be cute to do grass and do one big ladybug and several little ladybugs or something like that, and some flowers. So lots of different ideas. Once you start doing this, your brain just won't stop thinking of different ways to do it all. I mean, to do different patterns. I have really got to buckle down and start painting those blue jean jackets and aprons. Or I'm not going to have them done in time for the craft sale, which is in November, and that sounds like it's such a long time away, but it is not. It will be here before we know it. Okay, I'm going to dry those, and then we'll do one more coat, and we'll go ahead and do the little antennas. Antennae, I don't know how you say it. Those two little things that stick up out of their head. There you go. Hi, Sheila. Good. Pamela says she wants to complete her collection. Well, this year we'll have the fall one that comes out in June, and then in, I believe, August, I'll have to look at my schedule, but I think August is when the Christmas one comes out. There's 3 to a set. And if y'all don't know what we're talking about, you're new and you're going, Dippin' Dotties, what is she talking about? Here are some of the Dippin' Dotties. That's not all of them, but those are the different designs that you stamp or dip in your paint. I've got to where a lot of times I just kind of paint my paint on there. But anyway, we go into detail how to use them. There, we've got the bumblebee, the leaves, the lace one, the 3 circle set, the paw set, the heart set, Christmas light, Christmas tree, Christmas candy cane. A lot of different Dippin' Dotties that we use to decorate with. So that's what they're talking about. They can't wait for this sale. I usually have about every 3 months. I have a sale on the new design. So that's what they're all talking about. Okay, so I'm just looking to see if there's any black that I need to touch up after it's dried. If it's not good coverage, then we'll finish that up. Okay, I think that'll be fine. Now I'm going to use the brush that you have in the smallest one that you have in your kit that you got, but this is the one I typically use. It's a lot, much smaller. It's probably got maybe a dozen bristles in it, and this has probably got 30 bristles. I don't know, but it's very, very skinny, very small, about the size of my fingernail. And so that's the one I typically like to use because it makes them so much thinner. But I'm going to use this one. You just have to use light touch. Hi, Elaine. Just stopped by to say hello. Well, hello, Miss Sheila. We're glad you did. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to start at the head and flick it out towards me and then away from me. And I'm right on that seam. So that one's a little bit hard. Basically, you're just kind of making a curvy V. And I'm just getting that paint on the tip of my brush. So I'm going to come down and do this one. Trying to do it upside down so you can see. Very light touch. You don't want to put any pressure. Okay, and then we're going to come back and put dots on them, on the end of those, and then on the back. Oops, I don't want that big blob of paint on there. So when you're using a liner or a round brush, you want to put it in your paint and then just kind of roll it in your fingers to get that point. You don't want a big blob of paint on the end of it. Okay, and then one more. This one I'm going to let come right over that flower petal. And then out to this right. Okay, so let's take our little, whatever you're using to dot with. If you're using the end of a pencil, the end of your paintbrush handle, one of the Dippin' Dotty handle, dot ends, or one of the styluses, whichever works best for you, or whatever you're using. Okay, so I'm going to put a dot at the end of each one of the antennas, and if you're using that fabric paint, it's going to want to do the spaghetti thing on you, so you'll have to twist it and make it let go. So I'm going to do these antennas and then dry it to set, just enough to set them. In fact, I'm going to dry these up here as I go so they're not dripping. Because you want a good a good dot, a thick dot. But you don't want to hold it on there and you don't want to just hold it on there like this, because that dot's going to bubble up and it's going to crack and it's going to look terrible. So you don't want it to get too hot. I just kind of get it warm, and then I back off. Right now I'm not trying to dry it. I am just setting it so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, let's do this one. Two, three, four, five. We ended up with 6 ladybugs. I don't know how many you have. Okay, let's dry those just a little bit. One more. And then we'll do the back. Okay, and if your paint has flattened out and it's hard for you to get, this is kind of flattened out here and it's hard for you to get enough on there, then pour you just a little bit more and make you a good little puddle. Doesn't take much. Okay, now we're going to put the dots on the back. Okay, and I usually start with one at the top, just under that highlight line, maybe one down at the bottom. I try to do them in 3s. There's that one. And remember, these other dots are not dry yet. So this one I'm going to put, you just have to kind of look at each ladybug and decide where it needs to go. I've got 4. Put another one right there. So I've got 5 on that one. So each one will be different because each one is a little bit different size, and you might have gotten your little highlight line in a different spot. Some may only have 3 spots. Some may end up with 5. Some may end up with 6. Just depends on the ladybug. Okay, then I've got one more over here. Be sure and clean off your whatever tool you're using. All right, let's set them a little bit. I'm going to get them just a little bit dry I don't want to crack them. But I do want to set them, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it be drying, and we're going to practice just a little bit of some shading. I just want to go over some things with you. Some of you had asked me some questions. Now you could do a little white highlight line on the top of each of the little dots on his antennas. Those of you that are already painting your hats, do you think you're going to want to do another one? Are you going to want to paint on some more fabric, like shirts or denim jackets or aprons? Lots of different things you can paint on. Now this has to be dry enough. Typically I would let it dry overnight before I put it in the dryer to heat set. But I'm going to try to get it dry enough that I can put it in the dryer so that I can show you how to seal it. And I may just show you, well, because it needs to be heat set before you seal it. Now these dots that we did yesterday, they're good and dry. They're not going to cave in. Ooh, that wind is blowing out there. They said it might get up to 60 miles an hour or so. But how cute would these be if you got more detailed and put little faces on them? You could do the faces in the flesh color. Renee says, yes, she definitely will be doing more items. This is so much fun. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, you could probably find hats at a thrift store or Goodwill that people have, you know, turned in to practice on so that you're not out quite as much expense on them. Watch at garage sales. Just remember, again, these hats that you got in your kits, the ones I'm using, I ordered from Temu about 3 or 4 years ago, and they are not washable. If you wash it in a washing machine or you submerge it in water in the sink, you're gonna have to throw it away. It just wads up. This is cardboard inside here, and it just shrivels into a million pieces. Good, Pamela. I'm glad you like it. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside over here and let it be drying some more. And let me grab my brush over here. Blow my nose. Oh, allergies. Okay, first of all, the first question that I had was, how do you decide what color you're going to shade with? So let's take yellow. Let's take that primary yellow that we've got. It depends on the coloration. I mean, how dark do I want my shading? I'm looking at some different colors here. So if you'll stay in the same family of colors. You can go through and choose what will work. But I like to practice on a piece of paper first to just kind of see what works and what doesn't. And then you're going to get so used to it that you don't even really have to think about it. It just works. Let's take a coral here too. So what I do is I get my bottles and I just start holding them up to different colors to see what I think I'm going to like. And then I will... Good. Sherry said she would do some. Try a pink. You're going to try a pink ladybug or a pink hat. Could you show us an example on a piece of paper of how to add a face to a ladybug? Put me on the spot here. but yes, and I've only done it one time. Let me show you this one. This is the first one I've ever put a face on. I just did it last week. So I'm super, super new at it. I've just been kind of looking on Pinterest and birthday cards and coloring book papers, coloring book pages to see how they do it. So let's go back over here to this. Now, grab that pencil. Okay, so we're going to say this is, let's do just a round face. Let me pull you back down so you can see. So let's just do a round ladybug face. And there's several different ways that I'm seeing. Again, I've just started playing with this. So they kind of come to the center of the forehead, a little down, and make a V. And then you can just stop it right there, or you can go down just a little bit. It's kind of like the top of a heart. This I'm seeing done in flesh tones, like this one. And then you just put your little face on it. So think of it as a circle with a heart. Let me do it this way. So I'm going to start about down here. You're going to kind of guess where you want your eyes. So I'm going to make the top of a heart here and come down. Top of a heart here and come down. This will be a flesh color. This would be black. And then you would do the little antennas. So you could do so many different kinds of eyes. You could do what I call the front and back 6 eyes. I got that one a little low. Looks a little cross-eyed. And then just make eyelashes that way. Just a little U for a nose, or a little upside down U. You can do the mouth any way you want to. You can make the mouth closed. You can make the mouth open. Now, don't laugh at these because I am just sitting here freehanding this, not even knowing what I was going to do. So that's just a basic drawing. And I would suggest you go on Pinterest and look at all the different types of faces there are. I do have one over here. Let me grab it. I remember where I put it. Here's another style. This one, I did not paint this one. This one has just got the face, just a circle for a face, and it's a different color pink than this one, a lighter, so that it contrasts. And they did a little, kind of like googly eyes on the side. So there's another one. I don't remember where I got this. I think I found it at a garage sale, and I just got it for a pattern. I just thought it was cute. So see, this is completely opposite of what you would think of the ladybug. But that's what's fun when you're a craft painter, you're a whimsical painter. You don't have to go by the rules of nature. Have I ever seen a pink ladybug with white spots? Absolutely not, but I thought it was adorable. You choose how you want your piece to look. The ladybugs on your hat are too small for faces. Yeah, I didn't put faces on. That's why they're too small. That's why I did a side view, like they're looking frontwards. I didn't put eyes on them, but you can, you know, if you have bigger. Let's see. Judy said she'll be painting on fabric. Used to paint on fabric years ago, but just getting back into it. Good. I'm so glad that you are. Okay, so this is just one of those, a little canvas. But anyway, isn't that cute? So you can just use, you could do purple, whatever color you want your ladybug to be. Okay, somebody said something about a butterfly. Y'all are challenging me now. All right, let's, simplest butterfly that I know to do is to do like a hot dog bun. Okay, and then you would do your little antennas up here. Kind of find your mid spot here. Now you can make your wings pointy, however you want to do them. And then just put one down, going down. So there's the first half. Children's birthday cards, greeting cards, children's coloring books are great to find patterns to do things like this. Okay, and then you could put whatever pattern you wanted, you know, on your butterflies. You could do polka dots. You could do like a monarch and have a little border here and do different things on it. So, oh, there's just so many different ways. Look for stickers. Start training your eye to look at clothing, fabric. I used to find the cutest when they would put pictures on paper towels around the borders. I'd find the cutest little things to give me an idea of, you know, where to go from that. But start training your eye to look for things like that. When you look at something, you go, oh, that's a pretty card. Don't look at it as a card anymore. Look at it as a pattern, just kind of a sample. For instance, this is just, oh, I've had this I painted this back in 1989. It's a heart, but we painted it as an apple. So start kind of trying to think outside the box and look at this would be a cute ladybug face. And you could put a, you know, a body with it or put it on a body. But that's just pretty much what we were just doing. Only we did it in a little bit wider down, and we would do the black and then the face on it. So I am constantly looking. Wallpaper. There's just no end to where you can come up with ideas. Okay, so back to I'm letting my hat dry so that I can go stick it in the dryer right quick. Let's see if I think I can get away with it. Let me dry it just a little bit more with this, and then while we're letting it dry in the dryer, we'll do our wheel of names to see who wins, and then I'll get it and we will seal it. It's kind of hard to tell on this black because this black fabric paint is very shiny. So it looks wet, but it may not be. Okay, I'm going to let y'all talk to each other for half a second. On the apple are the eyes and the mouth using the 6. On the apple. Yes, they're supposed to be seeds. It's not really base, but yes, it's kind of the 6. So, yep, that's, and you could just do an oval, but I've used hearts so many different ways. I was trying to see if I had another one in here. Here's a good sample of a butterfly. This is Mod Podge, just a napkin. Napkins, you can find the prettiest things. This is another napkin. So start looking at things in a different way. Okay, I'm going to go stick this in the dryer. Let me get the pins out of it, and then we'll have to pin it back on. But again, I'm kind of speeding this up just for this tutorial purpose. I typically would let it dry overnight before I stick it in the dryer. But I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it doesn't mess it up, and then it'll be okay. All right, so talk among yourselves. Don't talk about me. The dryer heat sets it. It does, but I guess I could do that on this one. I typically wouldn't do it on my other ones. Let me dry it from the inside too, and that way we won't have to put it in the dryer. Let's putting it in the dryer kind of helps to dry those dots from the inside too. And that's just what the instructions say on there. So I'm going to try to dry it because I've got some going through the inside here. So I'm going to dry from both sides, and we're just going to skip the dryer part. But I do like to let it dry overnight and put it in the dryer for about 10 minutes. I feel like it gives it a better set. So I'm going to get it really hot from this side. And this is a heat gun. I mean, so it gets way hotter than the hair dryer anyway. I just want to make sure that I don't smear black paint everywhere if one of these dots is not good and dry. But I think it will be fine. Okay, that's pretty hot. I can feel it coming through. Okay, so I'm going to set that over there. Do you let it do the tumble in the dryer? I do, because I let it dry overnight and it's fine. So I do tumble it. On the dryer, the instructions on this and the fabric paint say 10 minutes on high heat in your dryer. Without a dry, well, you don't want any softener sheets or anything in there. So Vicki says, okay, Vicki, what are you okay, do you do the tumble dry? Oh, yes. Yes, I usually put it in the dryer, let it tumble for 10 minutes on high. But again, I let it dry overnight. So, and once it's dry, you can kind of reshape that bill a little bit, you know, if it gets out of proportion. But I'm gonna let it sit there a few more minutes, and let's go back to our shading. So Deco has done a great job of shading with those are both medium. Let me grab a light. They're greens. They're Hauser greens. I love it because you've got your dark, your medium, and your light. So you can base coat with this, shade with this, and highlight with this. That is my go-to for my greenery, my leaves. And, okay, Vicki, great. So that's what I do. That's what I usually use with that. Let's say I'm going to do yellow. Okay, like we did our petals here with this deep ochre. So I just kind of hold them together to make sure that they don't clash. But you can also take your base coat color that you're using And you can add a little bit, like this one, I would add maybe a tad bit of brown if I wanted to use this, and then mix it up a little bit and use that as my shade color. If I wanted to use this as my shade, this was my base, but I wanted to shade it, then I would take a little bit of darker green and just add to it till I got what I wanted. But I typically don't do the mixing. I usually just hold them up. I look here on my display and I just hold them up to different things until I see what I like. Now that's not going to be a very dark shade. It will dry a little darker. It's just kind of a light shading on it. If I wanted it to be even darker, say a little bit darker, then I would add a drop of brown to it and darken it a little bit. And if I'm wanting it to really shade and really show up, then I'm just going to go in with the dark chocolate or with burnt umber or something like that. So that's, I just play around with it. Okay, let's take this baby blue, for instance. That would work. I don't think it really fits the family. If I were going to do this, it's called blue cotton, I would probably choose something like, this is zinc. It's not what I meant to grab. And again, you can go as dark as you need to. This is a Williamsburg blue. Now look how pretty those look together. So that would work out great. Or you could go even darker with a deep midnight blue. Just depends on the look that you're looking for. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways how pretty those look together. So I just kind of hold them up and look at them. And then I practice with them. And before I know it, I've got the colors in my head and I just grab them without even thinking about it. Now I've been told that red is pretty to shade on corals and pinks. Let's try that. Let's just see what it looks like. Not a special dryer, just regular clothes dryer. Just my regular one, and I always set the timer so that I don't forget about it because I don't want it laying in the hot dryer. Okay, let's do some coral and let's do red. Now, if I were doing coral, I have a little bit deeper coral, and that's probably what I would shade with. But I was told that red is pretty on coral. I've not done it. I just kind of want to see what it's like. Okay, I've got paint everywhere over here now. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of different ways that we can do this. Let's just do a square. Probably be easier to do rounded edges. If you don't have one of these sketchbooks, artist sketchbooks, they are so nice to have. I've got 4 or 5 of them. And they are really nice to use. Let's see, this one I think I got at Dollar Tree. It says it's a sketch diary. It's a small one. I've got a couple of big ones too. Okay, so you can use a flat brush. Let me find, I didn't have a flat brush out. Let's see. You can use an angle brush. A lot of people use a filbert brush, which is kind of a rounded brush. Let's see what I've got over here. All right, let's just go with this one. This is a 1/4 inch flat. I've got a little bit of water in it, but I'm going to just dab it on my paper towel. And let's do the base color. And I'm not going to be careful about getting in and outside of the lines, because this is just for a sample here. Okay, so I've still got that base coat color on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more on it. And then just on the corner, I'm going to get a little bit of that red, and I'm going to blend it in. That is kind of pretty. By having that base coat color already on your brush, going back and forth, it just gives you a really pretty fade. It fades into that color. Now this is paper, and so it's going to do a little different than that styrofoam did. Probably need a little more water in it, so I'm going to barely dip the end into that water just to make it flow a little better. So I'm going to come back over here, get a little more of that red. I'm going to blend it in. Okay, so that's the red on coral, and that's really pretty. Now let's go with this coral blush, which is just a little bit darker than the coral itself. And it may not be dark enough, which if it wasn't, and we didn't want the red, we could add a little bit of red to it, and that would deepen it. Okay, this is my base coat color. So I've got that base coat color on there, and now I'm going to dip in that darker coral, that coral blush. And I'm going to, I don't think it's going to be enough of a difference that we're going to be able to tell. It's not dark enough. It blends in too much. So that one wouldn't work. They're just too much the same color. Looks darker, but it's just not dark enough. So we could add a little bit of that red into it. And come out with a little bit different color. So that's a little pinker. Okay, so that's one way with a flat brush, is get your base coat color on your brush. You've base coated it, and then whatever color you're going to shade with, put it on and blend it back and forth until you get a nice faded blend. And then go to your piece and just blend it out. Okay, and it just takes practice with how much water to use. Water is your friend when you're base coating. You just don't want too much. Water is either your friend or your enemy. You just kind of have to learn the balance in between it. I like to use, now I've never shaded with a filbert. A lot of people do. I have not. So I wouldn't be able to help you with that. I need to practice it and learn how to do it. Let's do a heart. I guess you'd call that a heart. Okay, let's go with, let's do the yellow. Okay, let's go ahead and base coat it in the yellow. And again, I'm just trying to get some on there just for demonstration purposes, not trying to stay within the lines. Sometimes you will teach how to make a jar or a snow globe. Sometimes will you teach how to make a jar or a snow globe to look like it's clear. I will see if I can learn how to do that. I've never done it, but I've seen it done. And the way you would do it is you would use a wash method. You would add a little bit of water to your paint to make it thin, and that's called a wash. I did practice some bubbles. I had not done any bubbles before. Let's see if I've got them down here. Nope, I think they're put up in the closet. They are. Okay, so that's my base coat. Let's go with this deep ochre. And then we're going to also do it in brown and see the difference. Let me get another brown. That one hasn't been opened yet. Okay, so this is dark chocolate. I think the other was milk chocolate. But just show you the difference. All right, and so say, where did my brush go? So if this were wood or whatever it was, I would take a little bit of water. This is a different way to do this than what we just did up here. I would just get a little bit of water around the edge that I'm going to be base coating. And then I would just dip the tip of my angle brush. This is an angle brush. I can blend it, or I can just go straight to it. Now this is going to be a very subtle shade. So now I'm not going to blend it. I'm just going to go straight on with it. But that water that I just added, that little bit of water, it's not much, is going to help it float across. This is called float. We say shading. The technique is called floating, and you'll see floating medium, which a lot of people do use. But if you use get your words out, Pam. If you use a shade darker than your base coat color, it's called shading. If you use a color lighter than your base coat color, then it's called highlighting. But the technique is floating. Okay, so that's with that deep ochre, and that shows up really well. And again, it dries a little darker. If I wanted it wider, after it dried a little bit, then I would come out right where I stopped, or where my shade kind of stops. I'm going to come out here with a little more water to help it flow, and then just kind of blend, walk that out a little bit wider. But if this were still wet, and it is a little bit, but I would be wiping off what I just did. So you want to let it dry a little bit. So the water is what helps it. Now this is wrinkled because it's paper, but the water is what helps it float. And again, you can get floating medium that helps you, and I used to use that all the time. I don't use that anymore. I just use the water. Okay, let's try this brown. Now with the brown, it's going to show up a lot more. So I'm going to get a little bit of water in here. And you want the water to stay on the inside. If you were really doing something here, you wouldn't want it to get outside the lines. So if your water's over here, then it's going to spread out to here. And this is such a dark color that I'm not going to put quite as much on my, because I can always go back and add some more. And I'm going to blend it just a little bit. I can really tell a difference that this is a little bit cheaper book. These pages are thin. My big book, the pages are like cardstock almost. It's really wet. So if you're going to get a book to practice with, a practice sketchbook, I suggest that you get one that's got the really thick pages. All right, but that kind of gives you the idea. So there it is with brown. So either way would work. So I just suggest that you play with the colors, hold them up, look what they look like together. That looks like it would be so bold. And it does show up well, but it's all in how you blend it out. And just kind of keep going out a little bit until you get what you want. You'll have to let it dry a little bit and then come back and work with it. Does that help? I used to be terrified of shading, and I would try it and I would try it and it just would not work, and I would just almost be in tears. Everybody else made it look so easy. But the more I practiced and I just kind of took a deep breath, the easier it got. Okay, so that's far enough that I can lay it over here and get it out of the way. But shading makes your painting stand out above anybody else's that is not shaded. It is such a great detail. Okay, so let's do our ceiling of the hat. And I'm going to do the inside first. This says to do front and back of when you're doing something. That may just be to get you to buy more. I don't know. But, okay, great, Michelle. But let's get this. I'm shaking this like it needs to be shaked. But it's super thick. It's like a thick paste. It's not going to come out. And I use an old brush when I'm doing this. I just use a cheap brush that I get at Dollar Tree or wherever. I don't use my good brushes for this. And I'm going to show you how thick it is. It is super, super thick. And I get my brush wet before I do it. And then I just kind of dab it off on the paper towel. So just anywhere in here, I don't think it's necessary for these, but we're going to do it because that's what it says to do. So I just put it everywhere that I know that I'm going to have paint on the other side. And it does help. If it's something you're going to be washing a lot, then I could see that. But, you know, if you're out and going to be sweaty, this might protect it from that. You don't have to do the inside of the bill. But it goes on super, super thick. And then I just spread it out. So I'm doing each one of the little triangles up in there where I know that there's paint. Okay, there's not any on the back ones, but there is over here on this side one. And it will dry completely clear. And you'll never even know it's there. Okay, so that's the inside where there's paint. So we've got all of that covered. Now, typically you could put it back on the wig head after that dries, but we're just going to go ahead and go for it. So everywhere there's paint, now I'm going to be careful with these little dots on these ladybugs, and I am getting some just outside of where I've painted. that's fine. And again, this would be much easier putting it back on the wig head, but I don't want it to stick to it. Everywhere you put those little vines in the dots. And we'll dry it here in a minute with the hair dryer or with the heat gun, and then I'll let it sit overnight, or sometimes I let it sit for a couple of days before I store it. I have some breathable bags, oversized baggies that have a couple of air holes in them, and that's what I store them in until I'm ready to take them to the craft fair. I try to get right around the edges because that's where the paint is going to peel if it was. That's where it typically would start. Okay, now the bill is going to be much easier because it's going to be solid, thicker. Get it up under that bill, between the bill and the cap part. Make sure you get your grass. Let me set it down here. Almost done. And then we'll dry it, and then we're going to do the wheel of names. I have got a full day today. Have some young couples from church coming over for supper. Mr. Pam is working today, so I want to be sure and get those little flower dots there in the vines. Okay, and you can see already it's starting to dry and disappear. Okay, I'm going to put that gluey paintbrush in the water and let it be sitting. And let's go ahead and dry it a little bit. Let's start with the inside. My nose is really itching, y'all. That wind's blowing so hard out there. I'm sure it's got everything stirred up. See, you can't even hardly see it now. It's already started to dry so much on the inside. But I'm not going to put it back on the wig head because I don't want it sticking to it. But I don't always dry it like this. I will just put it on there and then just set it aside, whatever I'm doing, aprons or whatever, and then just let it dry on its own. But you can see how it's already starting to clear up, and you can't even tell that it's there. And I had it on there pretty thick in some spots. Now I have seen people take like the napkins or fabric and cut them to fit the bill and Mod Podge fabric on the bills. Those are really cute. I did a lot of buffalo plaid on some of the bills for one of the shows that I did, and those were really good. They went real fast. They were gray hats with buffalo plaid. I can't remember the color of the hats, but anyway, buffalo plaid always goes. Now, is this perfect? No. And I can see all kinds of my little oops, but only I know where those are. Nobody else is going to notice them at all. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to dry it any more than that. I'm just going to let it dry on its own. I'm not going to pin it down to the wig head. I'm just going to set it on there lightly. Whoops. And I think it should be fine. But that's what we've got. Now, there's still some places that are a little milky that aren't completely dry. But I want to see pictures of yours on here. Once you get it finished, I want to see. Okay, I am going to pin it down here so it's not going to fall off. Now these hats too, there's a lot of places where it's got extra thread sticking out. I just take scissors and clip those off. Okay, that's going to stay in place. So I'll let that dry for a couple of days, and then I will put it in its little bag. I'll put a price tag on it, stick it in its little bag, and it'll be ready for the show. Okay, so let me get my computer. And let's do the drawing for the next set of Dippin' Dotties. That you don't know what they're going to be yet, but they're so cute. They're so cute. So I'm trying now to stay ahead with the Dippin' Dottie designs a couple of months, 2 to 3 months ahead of whatever season's coming up. I didn't do like 4th of July. I just did spring, summer, fall, Christmas, like that. So I don't do one just for every holiday, but we may do some of those in between. We'll see. The hats, Wanda, it depends on how much I paid for the hat. My typical, I will do whatever my cost is in whatever I'm doing times 3, and then I'll either adjust it up or down depending on what it is and how much it costs me. These hats I usually sell for $25 at the shows. That's what I've been doing, $25 plus tax, and if I have to ship it, then shipping and handling also. But that's usually what I sell them for in the shows. I started out at 20 and people were telling me you are not charging enough. And even at 25, I'm getting fussed at, telling me that I'm not charging enough. But when I sit down and do them, I do 6 at a time. I've got 6 wig heads. I get them all put on those wig heads, and I get them, I just start base coating, drawing. I'll get all the patterns drawn on. Then I'll get all the base coating done. Then I'll start doing all the details. And so I'll do 6. So I can have, I can usually have, I don't know, anywhere from 16 to 20 done in a week or a week and a half, depending on how much time I have to sit down with them. I try not to stay up. I used to stay up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning painting, and my body is telling me that I am not a teenager anymore. I am not a 20-year-old anymore, and that I need to not do that anymore. So I don't do that like I used to, but I can get them knocked out pretty quick. But let me get my computer over here. Oh, I set it down over here. I forgot I moved it. And we're going to see who's going to win my gorgeous laptop. Isn't that so pretty? And then when I open it up, it has a little Brett. Well, you probably can't see because of the light, but the little, where the laptop emblem is, logo is, it lights all of this up. It's so pretty. Yeah, you're not going to be able to tell it with the lights. But anyway, I love it. And just snaps on. And I got it off Amazon. Y'all know I'm a hummingbird fanatic. So when I saw that, I was looking for Winnie the Pooh because I love Winnie the Pooh, but they didn't have anything Winnie the Pooh. All right, let me get the Wheel of Names pulled up here. And I did enter everyone's name that purchased a kit, that registered for the Hats Off to Creativity workshop. Those are the names that are on the wheel. Thank you, Wanda. I love it too. Yes, I love to see my customers happy. And I just like to give them, try to give them a good deal if I can. And, you know, I'm thinking if I'm going to be buying something, I would like to feel like I'm getting a bargain. But at the same time, when you're running a business, you don't want to cheat yourself. You know, you can't make a profit if you're giving things away. So that's the hardest thing for me. Hi, Tammy. Is to, you know, is to price them, because I always tend to price a little too low, but I've gotten much better at, and I used to wouldn't charge them tax. I would pay the tax out of mine. And my husband finally said, okay, you got to decide, is this going to be a business or is this going to be just a hobby that you give things away? He said, either way's fun, but you got to decide what it's going to be. And so I had to make some hard decisions. So I did start upping the prices on things. So anyway, all right, let me get that pulled up here. No, I don't want Wheel of Fortune. I want my Wheel of Names. Okay, and we've got, I think it was 25 names in here. I don't remember how many, but everybody's name that signed up and paid, your names are in here. All right, let's spin it. Just got to click on it. All right, let me see who that says. That is Vicky Hilb. Is that how I say your last name, Vicky? H-I-L-B? Vicky Hilb. And you don't have to send me your address and everything. I already have that. And I will put you down that you won the first set of the fall Dippin' Dotties that will come out in June when I have the sale. So, Miss Vicky, don't buy the new set of Dippin' Dotties when I start announcing them. You won. Congratulations. Yay. This is just a website, and I don't know how to be fancy and put it on here so you can see it. So I just do it this way. It's called wheelofnames.com. Wheelofnames.com. And you enter all of your names over here that you want. And then once I've finished with this, I just clear those names out. And for the next event, I load them all up, whoever I want in there again. So you can put a bunch more names in there, and they just get smaller and smaller little spots here. But you can put, I don't know how many names you can put, but a bunch more than what I've got on here. So congratulations, Vicky. I am so excited for you. That is wonderful. I'm glad that you won. Vicky has purchased things from me. She's signed up for these workshops. So I love to see somebody that is so supportive. I wish I could give every one of you something free, but again, you can't run a business that way. It won't stay in business long if you, if you do that. Okay, so that's it on this workshop. I hope you learned something. I would love some feedback on it. If there's something you think I should have done differently, something that I could learn from. The next workshop will not be on this public page. So I need to make that clear to everyone, because we've got everybody watching this one, but only the ones that paid got the kits and the special emails and your name in the drawing. The next one, that Penny's Lane, will not be available for view on here. You have to be in the private group. It's $40. That includes tax, shipping, your kit that you will get, and then the instructions. That it'll be a 3-day workshop, May the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And again, that's $40. And you will get your wood piece. You'll get your pattern. You'll get the colors. You'll get a written step-by-step instruction like you got in this kit, the ones that got it. Instructions written out for you. So if you want to paint it again, you can use your own colors. So I am taking registrations for that. I looked last night and we have, oh, I already forgot, 15 or 16 that pre-signed up. And the deadline on that is May the 1st. You have until May the 1st to sign up. But I have a limited amount of the wooden sets here. So don't wait too long. What you will do is email me at youngheartcreations@icloud.com and tell me, register me for Penny's Lane, and I will send you an invoice for payment. And once I receive your payment back, then you will be added to the private group, and you can go ahead and start talking and commenting with everybody in there. I've already posted the colors that I used on this and that we'll use. We're going to do a lot of shading. We're going to learn how to do that slip slack background with 2 different colors. You could even do it with 3 or 4 different colors. It's just, up to you. A lot of different things that you can do with that. And I will be talking about it a lot in the next couple of weeks because, again, May the 1st is the deadline to sign up. Once May the 1st is gone, you will not be able to get into the group. So I'm trying to get the word out. So help me by sending these out to your pages or anybody that you know that might be interested in it. We do have some people that get together at their homes. We'll have 2 or 3 that get together and watch the videos together and paint together. They have their own little paint party, but they don't have to teach it. They just turn the live on, and or the replays. They'll be available for 30 days, and they have a little paint party at their house, and they're not having to teach. They're all painting together. They're all learning together, and it is so much fun. I've done that, and it is so much fun to do it that way. Or you can just do it by yourself at your own pace, watching the replays, but we would love to have you. But again, that's only $40, a little bit less than what this one was because there's not quite as many items that I had to purchase to put in the kit. So Michelle says, thank you, Pam. I really enjoyed the workshop. I've never painted on fabric. I'm excited to have a new skill. Yay! I'm so glad to hear that. That is my goal, is to let you know that you can do anything, or you can at least try anything. You never know where it's going to take you. I love painting. I love starting with something blank and seeing what it ends up with. Even if it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, it is just so much fun. And if you've never painted before, if you can paint your fingernails, you can do this. There's just some techniques that you need to practice and learn. But I'm excited about this next one, Penny's Lane, to show you what some sweet friend showed me using. I was taking a paint class, and how to use the tracing paper that helps take some of the frustration out of getting your pattern on the surface and getting it where it needs to be. So that's going to be a great tip. And again, it's all private in that private group. So if you are wanting to be a part of this, please go ahead and email me at youngheartcreations@icloud.com and say, sign me up for Penny's Lane, and I will get your invoice out to you. So I've got to go. We're having Italian tonight for the young couples. So I've got to go get my lasagna made. I just took a pie out of the oven before I got on here, and I've got to get everything ready for that. All right. Thank you, ladies, so very much for supporting me, for joining this. I know there were some other ladies that had some workshops too. At the same time I had this one, I didn't realize they were. So you've just been kind of going back and forth. So I hope that you are so excited about creating and crafting. Please remember that God loves you, that he made you in his image, and that you are special and that you are unique, and everyone has a little bit of creativity inside of them. All right, you're very special to me, and I thank you so very much. Bye-bye.